everybody. Welcome to another episode of Delight in Fright. This is our 44th episode. We have a full house today. We have Kat in the corner down here. And
Hi.
everybody surrounding us is cast members, producers, soon to be the directors coming in soon, shortly, and they're all part of a wonderful project called Inner Child. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
I'm doing fine. How about
Very
you?
well.
Trying to stay warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the opposite here. I'm currently in Florida and we're trying to stay cool. So tell us more about Inner Child. If you, Christine, or anybody can jump in.
Christine, if you'd like to start.
I can speak a little bit.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah,
all
go right,
You're
go right
welcome to
ahead.
start.
Yeah, so I wish I had the director here. But Inner Child is a wonderful piece where we look at the trauma that somebody has gone through, and we're forced to deal with that in healthier ways to get rid of the horror that comes from trauma.
Interesting. Um, who wrote this? Was it just Natalie, or did anybody have a part in writing this?
It was written by Natalie. She is also directing and producing. She has been working on this project for, I think, about 2 years. And it's gone through a couple of rewrites, gotten suggestions from labs and other members of the producing team. But where it is now, we believe it's a very solid script on coming to terms with trauma and learning to overcome it.
Interesting. So there's a large plethora of artists and actors and a bunch of beautiful people. We have Felissa Rose also a part of this.
Correct.
Yes.
Can you guys discuss a little bit of her involvement in the project? Was she producing? Was she acting?
Felissa will be acting in this. We have a couple of other names like Hannah Fierman, James Duvall, and we have 2 other names. We don't want to spoil just yet, but we are trying our best to stack this with names that you recognize from the horror genre from the past 30 plus years.
Interesting. Yes, I see quite the plethora of people that were a part of this, and we have a lot of talent from young to tenured in acting. Isabella, you're in this as well. Can you tell us a little bit how how you got involved in the project?
In the project, I would say just acting and just getting involved in the project is very grateful. I just want to say that. I just want to say that thank you for letting me join. And getting involved was really fun. I really enjoy what we did so far. And I think it's just a great experience.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Did you make a lot of new friends filming?
No, not really, but I'm still grateful that I got to be here with you guys.
Oh, that's so
That's
sweet.
awesome, Isabella. Have you acted in anything else, or would this be your first part of the beginning of your acting career?
Oh no, I've been doing some other stuff like The Legend of Kukui. I did that. It's one of the things that I've been doing. It's already finished, but that one was really fun too. I made some friends on there too.
Nice. Yeah, I see that you also were in Unstoppable, the Anthony Robles story. That's pretty good. You're only, you're only 10 and you've already been in three movies. So that's quite, the accomplishment. Do you have anything in the future that you wanna be involved in? Like you know, some comedy movies or some more horror movies, or what kind of movies are you into, Isabella?
I really love horror movies. I like been watching horror movies since I was 5, and it just really been a big part of my life. And getting to experience to be in like a horror movie is like my dream.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Yes. Scream Queen in the works. I love it. So do you watch horror movies with your mom, Isabella, or dad? Who in the family is more of the horror lover?
Me and my mom, we are into horror movies.
Aw,
I love that.
that is so fun. Kat can relate to that. She had a very cool
Yeah.
mom.
Me and my mom, we were all about watching scary movies together and snuggling up on the couch. So, and she did the same thing with her mom. So it's kind of passing on the tradition.
How nice. How did you guys get involved in the horror community? Did you guys just stumble on it and they're like, hey, I found a job? Or was it a passion of you guys?
Well,
I just,
I've been
go
into
ahead.
horror. I've been into horror movies for a very long time. I actually went to NYU to learn how to write them, and now it's just a matter of trying to get more and more done as an actor. But horror movies have always had a very important part in my life. My favorite holiday has always been Halloween, and I don't know. I think there's a lot more to them, which is why I've made it my mission to get more involved in them.
That's awesome. What about you guys?
How about I'll speak. I was born to be a horror person. I guess I started. I loved Halloween from being a child. I built haunted houses since I was a kid, and I've built epic haunted houses that have been well known and been well widely received. Which turned into I build film sets and props and all kinds of stuff. So I love the horror genre. I love that this film has the elements of the horror genre, but it's also more of a meaningful film, meaning that we have the mental health aspect and we have it's sort of a terrifying movie instead of more of a horror film. It's not going to be one of those bloody gore films. It's going to be a thriller film. So if you wanted to categorize it as a thriller, I'm excited about that because we're going to be able to do some great special effects, but I don't know what to expect. I'm so happy to be on board with this, and I fell into it through just being out there. Christine, actually, we met a long time ago through her husband, film set, being out there in the world. We're all kind of connected, and I think our team is real strong, and I think we're going to make a really good film.
That's awesome. How is it like working? I know you mentioned James Duvall being in the movie. Actually, Donnie Darko is one of my favorite movies of all time. How is it like working with him?
As far as pre-production goes, he has been very chill. He's very down to earth and approachable. If something comes up, he just lets us know like as soon as he can. But he's definitely very grounded, and that's something I appreciate about him. And I think that's going to be a bit of a calming energy on set.
That's an interesting take. You never know, people's personalities because they can portray a different character on scene, and then off the scene, they're just, a complete sweetheart. Some people portray their characters very, very well, and you feel like, ooh, they must be mean in person, but when you meet them, they're so nice and lovely and gentle. So it's awesome to see the contrast between them acting and performing to what they really are.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
as a side note, I can relate to that. I had the privilege of being on season 4 of Goliath and starring Billy Bob Thornton, and I always loved him as an actor, but kind of love hate because of who his characters were. But working on set with him on this production and seeing him off camera is totally opposite of what I would have expected, and he is really such a gentleman, kind, and genuine that kind of blew me away. So it was a great revelation for me to have that experience.
Right. I've heard that from Norman Reedus also because, when he was in The Walking Dead, he just seemed very cool. He had all the weapons and did all the cool stuff. And, his character was very much like, kind of like aloof and didn't seem very he was a bad guy kind of thing. So he had that like bad boy kind of aspect to him. So but no, from what I hear, he's really, really sweet and nice and caring, and I think he does some charity work. So that's very interesting. So do you guys have any fun stories that you can share from Inner Child set? Like something fun that happened that you're
Well,
able to talk about, of course.
well, we are still in pre-production for the film, so we have time to make those stories.
Yeah.
But as far as going through rehearsals and getting everything together to make this movie happen, it a lot of running around, a lot of running into people you would never really expect, and somebody you met 10, 15 years ago, all of a sudden you reconnect, and it's in production for this movie. Like Danny was saying, he met Christine years ago, and now they both wound up back on this project. And I know Bella, John, and Christine, they worked on a project maybe 2.5 years ago, and then
Great.
found each other again on this one. So it's been a lot of realizing how small the industry can be sometimes, and just you never know who you're gonna meet again. I think is the biggest things that we've gotten from the production thus far. But like I said, we have time to have some of those fun stories from set, and I'm looking forward to it. Even if it might be some issues, some problems that we need to solve on the day, at least after it's done, we get to come back to you and tell all the fun tales about what's gone on.
And in terms of what
Mhm.
we have already done, I found it really fun to see a transformation of making something that's actually outside look like it's inside. Just being able to see how all of the lights kind of went up, and seeing a little clip of the final product. It's astounding to just know the behind the scenes aspect of what we have already shot was actually not even inside. I thought that was a very fun and cool experience to be able to see that type of transformation of a
Yeah,
location.
Bella, I agree. I think it really speaks to the level of teamwork, and we even as early as we had just started the teaser, you could see the teamwork coming together and a lot of unspoken things that needed to be done. People didn't even have to ask for. Everybody was just on it. And I mean, that's really heartening to see so early in a production that people have such care for this production that they're just giving everything they have. And it's just a love of our industry, a love of filmmaking, that we just want this to be the best possible production that we can be involved in as a team. And I just have to add that my super fun moment so far has been running into Bella after doing the production during COVID that we had worked on previously, and not knowing that we were both going to be involved in this project. And and then just all of a sudden seeing her at one of our first get-togethers, and it was just really neat. You realize that, you know, in such a big world, this really is a small world in our industry, and you end up
Yeah,
getting
it
to work
truly
together again.
it was a surprise for everybody that we all just ended up in the same spot. But I
Kind
mean,
of weird.
small world, small industry.
Yes.
And now, Christine, I see in your IMDb page that you played a role in Oppenheimer. You were
I
Lady
did.
Bird Johnson.
I did.
That's
That
pretty
was
cool.
the thrill of a lifetime. Handpicked by Christopher Nolan, and got to work with Cillian Murphy and Emily Blunt. And you know what you were speaking to before about when people are on camera, just getting into the zone. It was really neat to see actors at that level who were so committed to their role that they took their job so seriously. And it was such a great example to bring to our film about just committing to the story and committing to your character so much, and then watching your fellow actors lift each other up and have each other's back in those moments. So I got to witness that on Oppenheimer firsthand. I was right there.
So you must have the quite the Oscar party planned out, Christine.
uh, well, I don't know about that. I don't think I made the cut on that one.
I mean,
Yeah, I might
just to
have
see your fellow cast members and everyone. I'm sure
we
it's
call
fun and
them
exciting.
Oppen homies now. That's the inside term.
Oh,
But so we may have raise a glass here to celebrate.
oh, that sounds so much fun. And you did some stuff too. You did two shorts before, so it's very exciting. You're gonna have some producer credits in Inner Child as well as acting credits, correct?
Yeah, actually, 4 years ago, right before the pandemic, Natalie had written a short called Inner Child, and then the industry shut down, the world shut down, and we were just about to start filming this wonderful film. We had a great read through. It drew me into the story instantly, and I could affiliate, could resonate with the storyline, the characters, just my own life experience, family experience, and knew that there was something bigger there. So when we couldn't film, I stayed connected with Natalie and really believe in her storytelling ability, and knew that there was just something more there. So, you know, we stayed connected, and you know, I just kind of tried to cheerlead from my little spot here in LA, and hoped to see something bigger blossom from it. And she had the time to do that. It was a period of, you know, what do you do with yourself? Do you fold up and die when the world is dying around you, or do you find new ways to grow in your passions? And she did that beautifully in so many ways, and so many different projects that she's been involved in. um, she's just prolific and dynamic, and I'm just loving, you know, everything that she's developing, and this being one of them. So, you know, hopefully I feel like I've just been that little voice on the side that says keep going, and I know that many other voices have joined as well, and I'm happy to be a part of this thing that grew bigger.
Yeah, what happened to her? Natalie should be on this call. It would be fantastic. Well, it's
Um,
unfortunate if she doesn't
and
make it, but she does work a lot.
oh, I did
Yeah.
see that she gave us a Facebook like. So she is aware at least that we are live. So I wanted to ask, is there any I know a lot of projects to like Indiegogo's and any of that stuff. Do you guys have anything like that going on right now? For fundraising?
We had in the past when we had a different direction for the film, but as of right now, we're mainly seeking just individual support from individual investors. A lot of the money for this project is coming from the companies that we've aligned ourselves with. But we'll never turn down additional funding. If there's somebody out there listening that wants to be a part of this project, they're welcome to reach out, and we're happy to discuss some of that. Obviously off of the call, but yeah, always happy to discuss about additional funding.
Yeah, if there's any angel investors out there, hi. We are totally willing to have you be our angel investor if you need, if you want to be a part of it. But yeah, from what I know, lots of other companies that we've been in talks with, and we are going to be funded by some others. So angel investors will be appreciated too.
That's pretty awesome. I always ask because you never know, where a current project is at in terms of funding, or if you need, there's different ways, different projects get off the ground.
Yeah.
Now, what has been the most challenging, would you say, so far about the project? Has it been funding? Was it COVID kind of putting a stop to the filming progress, or what would you say has been so far the biggest hurdle you had to cross?
I think
Getting a SAG agreement.
yeah. Probably the biggest thing was COVID, and then as we were coming out of COVID, prepping for the pre-production of the film, then started going into the discussions with SAG-AFTRA and the WGA. Those
With the
strikes,
yeah. I think the
Oh.
strikes really impacted a lot of different productions, especially ones that are a lot like ours, that are a bit more original and not put up by huge studios that are helping to fund it. So I think that the strikes, honestly, especially as an actor, it has impacted a lot.
Yeah, and
It's
the
still going.
industry, yeah, the industry as a whole is still being affected by it, and even more so with a potential strike coming up this summer. So we do think it's a good time for independent films,
Yeah.
but obviously navigating through all of that as independent film production companies it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
And I think some other companies that we would consider colleagues have not been able to make it as far as we have, especially with the cast and the talent that we have tied to this project. I know the film is going to be made. It's so hard to work through challenge after challenge over the past 2 to 4 years.
Yeah.
I think what
completely understand.
what we've really used to our advantage is during the strike, even before that, is just learning how to build a better team every day and to be really good stewards of what we're given. So wherever we're at, we try to make the most of what we have and economize and just be really good at using our resources.
Absolutely.
So
I agree with
for
that 100%.
I was going to say, so for our viewers in the house that are wondering, what's all this about? Am I able to roll the trailer so they can kind of see what we're kind of discussing?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yay. Woohoo.
let's bring it up. Think I have it ready. So how long did it take to do the intro?
The teaser.
Oh yeah, the teaser.
So the teaser, Natalie wrote that probably in about a week and a half. And then within a month, we had that shooting.
And in terms of production, we did that all within one day. So I was happy to meet the other Isabella and work with her on that as well. That was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience.
And hearing that you guys have so far a 4-year, trial after trial with COVID and then the strikes, and I can tell this is definitely a labor of love. And when you reach that success and it's out and distributed, I know that it's going to be so much sweeter because of everything you guys have come across and went over to accomplish this.
Yeah.
Cassie? What's the matter, Cassie?
Not real.
Cassie? You're not real! Cassie? Cassie! Wake up!
Yes. Ooh, I see some names I recognize. That was awesome.
And at the very end, if you watch it, the very, very, very end.
Uh-oh.
Just you got to watch the bear really carefully at the very, very end.
Okay.
You have to watch the bear. I don't know. It was fun at the very, very just last second. The bear. You have to watch the bear.
Okay, let's watch the bear.
There's a trick. There's a trick.
Oh wait, hang on.
Let's see if you can.
Oh, it moved.
It had moved.
Did you catch
like,
that? Did you catch that? That was a little idea that I thought of, and I said, Natalie, what do you think about that? We tried a few takes right at the very end, and I love that it just kind of does that, but you gotta be looking for it.
If you blink,
you'll miss it.
Yeah. Ooh,
I know. That's why I want people to go watch it again. Watch it again.
No, it was such a wonderful experience to film that. I mean, and on top of all of that, I really enjoy just the stuff that the themes that are in this film, which is one of the reasons why everybody is putting as much as we can, as much love into this and care as we can. So what on Kat's point before the trailer, yes, it will feel much sweeter just knowing how much work and dedication has gone into it, especially because of the themes and how important all of us know a story like this. We all need to be telling these types of stories. So yes, it will feel very sweet.
That's very awesome. I got some those, they call them those the paralyzed demons when you like wake up and then you can't move.
Yes.
Sleep paralysis. It felt like very sleep paralysis, like demony.
Perfect. That's what we're going for.
Cool. I wasn't able to actually say it properly before, but yes, she struggles with sleep paralysis and trauma. That is basically the monster that we're fighting. So,
how's anybody else's?
I was going to say that's what drew me to the project initially, is because as a teenager and a child, I dealt with sleep paralysis, and I know that there's a common phenomenon about a dark figure that comes to you and you can't move. And I've had that frequently happen to me as a child and a teenager. And I know I was dealing with a lot of trauma and abuse and family generational substance abuse and that kind of stuff, and it manifested in a way in my life. So I zoned right into a lot of the ideas that were being presented in the script, and just thought, yeah, I can feel this very well, and I know characters like this in my life.
Yes. And I can totally relate too. And when you're in that moment where you're like in the half asleep, half awake, and you can't move, and then you have that sleep paralysis phenomena going on, it's very difficult to discern what is real and what is fake. Even when you're fully wake up, you kind of have to sit there and ponder and be like, am I being attacked by the supernatural? Or what? You know what I mean? You kind of gravitate to
Yeah.
that because it seems so
Real.
supernatural.
It feels like it's real, but it's still supernatural, and it's some such darkness coming from your sleep paralysis that is affecting you so much that it feels so real. Yeah, sleep paralysis is not fun.
No, it is not.
No.
I've dealt with it. I have had my personal demons to battle with being an SA survivor and stuff like that. So those sleep paralysis demons do get a hold of you pretty tight there. But learning how to cope with real life events does help with that
Yeah,
as
and
you go on.
I think once you have that experience, there's also something called lucid dreaming, where you learn how to gain power and ability to control some elements while you're sleeping. So it's a fascinating field, and I've kind of felt that I had some control like that in my dreams before, and I think our script kind of delves into that as well a little bit.
Yeah.
That's so interesting to hear, Christine. A lot of things that I've read about sleep paralysis, a lot of people believe that it can have something to do with alien abduction as well.
Yeah.
Was wondering how you what your views were on that. And I haven't really had severe sleep paralysis, but the lucid dreaming I do have a lot of. So it is nice once you realize, once you really get to know yourself more, and you realize you're like, wait, this is a dream. This is all the things that terrorize me the most, all coming together and making friends. Like, no, stop. And then you can really control and kind of
Yeah.
switch that over. So I was wondering your take on that belief, and what kind of helps you work through the sleep paralysis as well.
Well, you know, I don't know that I have complete consciousness in my unconsciousness, but I've had lucid dreams and sleep paralysis to the point where I've been fully awake and unable to move my body for about 20 minutes, from like the neck down, and also unable to speak, where it's affected me that much, where I knew I was fully awake, could see what was happening in the room around me, but was unable to call out like to my husband to ask for help. So I actually felt more powerless in my waking state than I did in my dreaming state, but I have had the power in dreams to defeat things that I couldn't previously defeat, and stop someone from trying to trick me into thinking it was reality when I knew that it wasn't. So it's like I developed a language for myself that I knew I could speak. You know how you, when in dreams, where I don't know if you've experienced this, where you have like you have text in front of you, or a phone, and you can't really read what it says, or you can't discern the numbers. It looks foreign, it looks alien, so you can't figure it out. Well, in dreams, and you can't talk the way you would normally talk, I've figured out ways to communicate to myself and to others sometimes that goes beyond that. So because I know like the alphabet in sign language, American Sign Language, sometimes I've used that to communicate in my dreams, really odd. I don't know consciously. I can't figure out how I figured out to do that, but I managed to do that.
Ooh.
That's so interesting. And a lot of times in dreaming, like you were saying, that you have your own kind of language, and it's all about the subconscious, and this film definitely sounds like it's a lot of that as well. And sometimes it can be so frustrating having any sort of mental illness, disability, or like, it's in my head, so why can't I fix it? Like, it's in my head, it's my head, I can control it, so why can't
Mhm.
I fix the problem? So it's so interesting that you learned a language to communicate, because I've had a lot of those dreams too, where it's like the phone won't work. I have a phone, I know my husband's number, and I can't get him. Like,
Yeah.
I need his help, and I cannot get him for for anything. And it
Mhm.
and now that you kind of point that out to me, it makes a lot more sense. So thank you for sharing that with us.
I would like to say a little bit more about sleep paralysis, though. I know you had asked if there's any like beliefs or any things that you feel. And when I've had sleep paralysis, I don't suffer too much from it, thankfully, but I am a very spiritual person. So I have actually ended up, when I saw a very dark, very scary figure in my room. And I, at least in my head, yelled at it. As a spiritual person, I'm like, I do not accept this energy within my space. So I kind of just use that spiritual belief that if there is anything there, I can tell it to go away. And it did. It did. I yelled at it and told it, you are not welcome here. I will not allow negative energy to be here to scare me in my own home. And because of my spiritual belief within that, it went away. And that's just a whole other aspect of dreaming. And I guess maybe that was a moment of lucid dreaming that I had, or something, that I was able to take real life beliefs, and my own spirituality, and use it to help me, even if it was just in my head that there was something there. There must have been some type of darkness coming out. So I told it, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to make me uncomfortable in my home. And it helped.
I love that. Bella said,
Kevin,
not in my house.
Yeah.
No.
I said, I'm fixing it now.
No, not tomorrow. I like that.
Yeah.
I was
You're
just
not
going to thank Kevin for taking my advice to stop doing that to Bella. Please, thank you.
Yeah, no, but seriously, I mean, it really helps, especially coming from like mental health awareness, and coming back to this movie, this film. That's what called me to it, because I felt like it's empowering to have that sense within yourself, whether you find it through spirituality or through education, or any other type of way that you can empower yourself within your own mental space as well as in your own life. That is something that really attracted me to this film, because of the character arc, but also in real life, it's how we deal with things.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We've had 2 comments so far, while you've been talking. We have Juan in the house saying hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Juan.
He's one of our loyal, very loyal fans. And we have Chris saying, had that same thing one time. I had sleep paralysis, had to force myself to yell, get away from me, and it stopped.
Yeah. It's
Mm.
a matter of empowering yourself to be able to fight whatever is coming at you. That's what I believe, at least.
Whether it's external or internal, because sometimes, you trick yourself into thinking, or it could be also external, but you got to give yourself power to overcome that obstacle, whether it be inside, within, or outside.
Yes. And that's
And I
Bella,
something.
mean, since children, we've been reading, the little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. I know I can. It's that belief in yourself
Mhm.
that hopefully sprouts from childhood, and definitely, looping it back around to your inner child. I could definitely, even though we haven't seen the film yet, I could feel the themes, what you guys are working at underneath, and I'm so excited to see what we're gonna get.
Yes, yes. I wanted to say, well, since, earlier, Kevin had mentioned making memories, maybe Kevin could let James Duval know that I'm a big fan and I'd love to interview him on the podcast. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that'd be a great memory.
I'll see what he says. He is local to LA, so while we only have him for a short time on the project, I will keep that in mind.
I will make sure to help that happen too. I'm going to try my best to make that happen for you.
Aw, you guys are
Aw.
so much fun and so sweet.
And I
Yeah.
did want to mention in the teaser, the Paul the composer, that music is just so haunting and beautiful. Have you guys heard anything else that he's done for the film yet, or is he kind of composing afterwards to get a feel for everything?
It's kind of like a parallel process. Natalie is developing the ideas that she wants to show up in the music, but obviously the final score is going to match with our final cut of the film. So it's kind of two lines getting closer and closer together until when we get that final cut, we'll hear exactly how everything plays together. But the motifs that we've heard in the samples so far, I will say, are very well done, and I'm excited to see what the final product's going to be.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. We're so excited. Do you guys have like a idea of when you want to, project completion, or when you want to start doing the main filming, editing, post-production, anything like that? Any kind of outlines or ideas where you want to go?
Well, we want to right now, but Kevin will share that.
Oh.
Yeah. I will say we're still on schedule to film in the spring of this year, and we hope to have our final cut finished before the end of the year. Then we'll see where we take it with festivals, a small or larger theatrical release, and then try to get it on streaming after that. So even if this process has taken 4 years so far, there's still at least 1 to 2 more years of it existing out in the world and figuring out where it's going to wind up. So a movie is never just, all right, we did it and we can move on. It's going to live with you, and it's going to live with you for a long time. But I'm glad that this is one of those projects that I get to live with. And I think the rest of the production team feels the same way. Even if there have been the struggles to get it to that next phase at different points over the past 4 years, it's worth it. And it is a labor of love. There's a lot of passion from everybody on the production team. And I'm going to be happy when we get our first day of filming. I'm going to be happy when we get our last. I'm going to be happy to sit in the theater and see that final cut. But I'm just glad I get to live with this project.
Yeah, it's genuinely, at least for me, I snuck the script and was able to get an audition, like just a hilarious kind of thing that happened. But I when I read it, I was like, this needs to happen. This needs to happen as a film that I feel is genuinely important to people who have survived different traumas throughout their life, for mental health purposes of other people. I mean, the horror genre has always been the space that you can deal with the horrific aspects of life that we deal with as humans. And when I read this script, I mean, the passion is clearly there with everybody else, but I could not put it down, and I could not leave it, even as even if I wasn't acting on it, I would be working on this to make sure it got made. Just solely from how important the subject matter of everything within it is.
Nice, nice. And
And being
Kevin,
that there for 4 years, Kevin, and all the time, it seems like a really long time and a long process, but in the grand scope of everything, I mean, how long is a film going to live on, right?
Yeah.
As long as what you've poured into it continues to come out, it can go on for generations.
Well,
So it
on
can be rough.
that, a lot of the production design, I mean, I don't know if I can talk about this, so Kevin, please shut me up if I can't say anything. But a lot of the inspiration for at least some of the imagery that you see in the trailer, and what we're hoping with throughout the production, is from classic horror movies like Suspiria. And a lot of that is coming from movies from literally decades ago that are now being fed into movies that we're making now. And we hope that we can make something as significant. I think the subject matter is extremely important. I see that there is something there that can affect people's lives in positive ways. And I can only hope that that Suspiria kind of thing that we're doing here can be living on through this and hopefully inspire somebody else in the future.
The amount of time that has passed is really short. When you think about the progress that has actually been made in the mental health arena, and how we view mental health, how people are now seeking out mental health resources more than ever, and it's becoming less stigmatized, more normalized, and we're starting to now understand how much we need to embrace each other, check in on each other. So I think it's going to become this topic is more relevant than ever, and certainly timeless in that we all need that kind of support in some fashion. That every family has some kind of trauma that they deal with, and I just think that. The time that has passed is inconsequential at this point. It's just becoming, I think, a more relevant plot, a more relevant film, and it'll be just right when it is released. It'll be just the right time.
And mental health is health, period. That's it. It's health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and once we all cohesively agree upon that, hopefully things will get better. It's definitely gotten a lot more easier. Like just today, I booked an appointment on MD Live to talk to a therapist, and you can set the appointment, or if you need someone right away, you can click that option as well. You can look at their specialties. I mean, there's a lot of options out there to kind of feel the ground and see, hey, do I like this therapist? Maybe not. It could take years to find the perfect therapist, right? That's just how it is. But that doesn't mean we're going to stop. You have to continuously work on your mental health, just like your physical health, just like anything else. And it's definitely coming more to the forefront now. And I'm happy, so happy to see that.
Yeah, I think the stigmatization against it, against people finding help, has harmed a lot of people, and seeing the trajectory of that field and seeing how it's just becoming much more normal it's wonderful, to say the least. It's inspiring to see, something that is actively being destigmatized and is actually starting to help people and is becoming much more available to multiple communities. Speaking as, from my own community, I'm Latina, and, we have a lot of trauma within our own communities and the history behind it, but also within the families. And why I'm speaking of destigmatization, that's something that is so important for so many people that might not feel comfortable, that they might not reach out and seek help because of that. But especially with this film, I believe that it will help to destigmatize as well, just simply by this film being made and with the themes that are within it. I think that it's important for everybody to to see that mental health, and to see that it is a part of you, and it will make your life so much better if you actually do seek out help. So there's my little TED talk.
Yay.
And it does open the line for communication about it. So if you watch a movie about let's say a tiger, you're like, ooh, I want to learn more about him, because maybe now you're like thinking, they got you thinking about it, you know, stuff like that. So if you watch this movie about these psychological things that might be going on, then you open the door for that communication to occur. And once that communication starts occurring, then that's when, you know, people start talking more and more about it, like we are having a discussion now about sleep paralysis and all this stuff. It kind of opens that door to have that communication. So not so so mental health isn't a taboo. It's rather something that's inviting to talk about, and we can openly discuss, and it's not like we don't talk about that here. No, it should be something that we do talk about. And I'm glad that this film will encourage people to go ahead and discuss that.
Yeah.
And I just had one last question for you guys. Particularly for Kevin, it sounds like are you handling most of the scheduling for as far as the actors and things like that?
Yeah, I'm the unit production manager and line producer on this, so I'm handling the logistics of everything. So I'm happy to answer any question you might have.
He's the one that gets very stressed with everything.
He bears the weight on his shoulders. I could relate to the feeling. I'm sure not in this extent. So working with a minor, working with Isabella, I've read often that it can be difficult. Not that Isabella's not willing. I'm sure she's like, yeah, I want to work here all day. But you know, with things being the way that they are, are you finding it difficult to kind of work around her schedule and mesh that with the actors just yet, or you haven't got to that point?
So thankfully, where the schedule is now, the biggest thing with kids, especially on a union production, is they are only allowed to work a certain number of hours per day, depending on their age. And even then, depending on the time of year, there needs to be a studio teacher who's on set with them to make sure that they are doing homework from their regular school, depending on how long they're going to be on set. Some productions can last for months. Thankfully, ours is able to shoot within just a few weeks. And we have Isabella on for a few days of that. So we have our studio teacher all picked out, who's going to make sure that she's doing the work that she needs to on set and that she doesn't fall behind in her regular schooling because I am a very big proponent of being educated in the industry. You don't have to necessarily have a degree in acting per se, but you should be able to understand what's going on and have a good just a good understanding of the world, and education is probably the biggest part of that.
Yeah. And John, what is going to be your role in this production?
So my role is associate producer, as well as I'm playing the role of the monster and the pharmacist in a scene. So I've got a couple of roles here, wearing a few hats. But I got dragged in and blessed to be part of this production through Christine, who, again, you see how things come around. And I've worked with Danny actually years back with when we did the Hollywood production, and I worked with Bella and Christine on a short film.
Yeah.
But it's a small world how we're all back in the same spot again, and it's very unique, and it's actually very pleasing to be able to work with people that you've worked with before and know exactly they're putting the same commitment levels that you put into it. So that in itself, and once I became part of this, I'm just thrilled and can't wait to see this come to fruition.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what about you, Danny? What is your part in this production?
So I'm a producer. The way I fell into it was I have a really nice backyard, I guess, that I use for renting, for filming things, for parties, for weddings. It's a really neat environment that can be kind of shot. A lot of different things can be shot back there that don't look like you're in LA. Um, so I offered to be the host of our first fundraiser, where we first announced that we were going to do this film. So this was way back before. I think there was some of our players are newer even from then, but that was where we first introduced the project. We started to get our contacts together, and we started putting it all together. But it was at my space. So since then, I just have been following, enjoying the process, learning a lot. Everybody has something different to offer. I can see all these skills that everyone has, and I'm just blown away by being able to just take some knowledge from someone else that knows something you don't know. But I bring to the table, I think, my skills of building, carpentry, production design. I love the way things look and feel, and I'm a musician too, so I love that Paul's on board because I mean, if you've seen some of his other movies, the Terrifier series, the Terrifier with the clown and all, oh my goodness gracious, some scary music. So super excited for him to be on board. But yeah, for me, I can wear a lot of hats. I'm planning to do whatever I can to help, and I can't wait to see what comes out from everything and everybody. It's a great team.
Danny's being modest. His artistic eye and his ability to think on the fly was made our teaser that much more effective. He really put together a fabulous set, and it was just so instinctive for him, and he knew his space and he knew what we needed, and it just all came together. So like I really trust his artistic eye as a fellow artist. And I just kind of I'm in awe of what he's able to throw together on a dime.
And that just plays into what Kevin was going about, how important education is, right? It's important that don't need to be proficient in one particular area, but knowing bits and pieces about of a lot of different things can help us kind of put those pieces together in our everyday lives and accomplish amazing things.
Absolutely.
Well, do you guys have any last minute things you would like to mention, ask, or say before we wrap up?
I would just say, honestly, take care of your own mental health, yes, but if you can do anything to help somebody else, be a support. There's many ways to support people who are going through really tough times, and if you can, do what you can, and of course, throw some of that support this way towards inner child.
Aw.
Yeah,
I think thematically, something that you'll find is a very subtle, well, you might find it as a very subtle message eventually in this production is just being there for each other. Sometimes that's all you can do. Most of
Yeah.
the time, that's all you can do is just be there. Check in on your friends and let them know that they're loved.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's definitely something within the film. I mean, it's one of the reasons why a lot of us are very passionate about it. We can see all these things that are helping to support others that are outside of this production, to just raise awareness in that space, but also to send a better positive message through such a strange medium like a horror movie.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's wonderful. So, very quick before we end the conversation, next week we have a awesome guest. We're going to be discussing Halloween, the first three originals, 1 and 2, and of course 3, which gets a lot of bad rep. But we will be discussing all 3 and see Stay tuned to see which one's Kat's favorite, which one's mine, and our special guest that we'll be having, which one's their special favorite. So, guys, without a further ado, this was the cast and crew from Inner Child. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Stay in touch with your loved ones, like we mentioned here, and have a wonderful night. Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
Kat. Thank you, Luna.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody.
Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And I want to thank you for listening to Delight and Fright with your hosts, Luna and Kat, a podcast for outcasts.
Yeah.